Welcome to the Studio-littleBold podcast, where vision meets execution, creativity finds clarity, and mentorship unlocks potential. I'm your host, Abigael Osidiana, and this is the space for designers, dreamers, and change makers looking to build bold ideas and shape the future of interior design. Hello and welcome back. My name is Abigail, and we are here on another episode with a brilliant interior designer discussing her experience from internship and her first working experience in the industry. And we really want to just hear her thoughts, her shocks, her learnings, and everything else in between. So karibuni sana. I really want to introduce to you Noel Kanyi.
Hi guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi Noel, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us
Thank you for having me.
and for contributing to the community.
Yes, today we'll have so many fun stories. Yeah.
Good. So let's just start with an introduction so that everyone who doesn't know you can get to know you a little bit.
Okay. My name is Noel Kanyi, but I like using my second name, Kanyi, for my socials and even interacting with my clients. I was in school in Maseno and I did a Bachelor of Arts in Interior Design with IT for 4 years.
And what area of specialization do you do in interior design?
So currently I have done, the beginning of my career I was a CAD tech. After that, right now I am doing fit out and design and build right now currently.
Okay. And tell me, what sparked your interest in interior design?
Okay, so from a pretty young age, I used to find solace in drawing. So I used to stay with my grandparents a lot. So they always encouraged me to be an architect, but the structure work never used to excite me. So that's when I started looking, what can I do that still like I'd be able to explore with colors, shapes. So I never knew about interior design. No one in my family knew about interior design.
So how do you know about it?
Now, I started Googling and researching about it. So I remember when I got my calling to go to, the offer letter to go to Maseno, I told my granddad, I think I want to do interior design.
Wait, so you got your letter. How did you select it? Because you had to have selected.
Oh, yeah. So I Googled actually,
Uh-huh.
and I saw interior architect. Then, that period, I don't know how they handle it right now, but before we used to, you get your grades, you go to the online portal, you check for which schools offer that. So when I looked at the School of Design, now that's when I started seeing architecture, interior design.
So which uni is this now? Which portal? Because during my time, there was nothing like that.
Oh.
As we had to physically go and get brochures from university to university. There's no portal. You guys were having a good time.
Yeah, so it was like the Kenya Examination Board portal that after you get your results, you used to feed in your administration number from high school, and then it shows you what like your grades, and then like now you pick your course, and then now it shows you like if you got a B, of course it won't show you to become a doctor. It will show you things that B grades allow you to.
What?
Yeah.
You guys are so lucky. There was nothing like that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was quite normal because that's, and I don't know, and I'm sure it's different right now, but that's how it was.
Oh, so now you
then.
key in, it gives you options. You can do that.
Yes. So, like, for example, if you get a C, they won't show you, like,
Medicine.
courses that need an A. It should show you courses that align with the C.
Wow.
In the different universities. So you'd pick either you want in Nairobi, in Western Kenya, in the coastal region, or you pick which area you want to go to.
You pick the area.
Yeah.
So actually, just up to there, I really wanted to ask our viewers, guys who are currently in school right now or just joined, Cindy, that transition period, how are they doing it nowadays? Tell us. If you tell us so that we see.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I thought it was like that was a normal. By the time I was joining uni.
No.
Yeah.
So now you checked.
I checked.
It narrowed down.
So my selection was biased because I wanted to school out of Nairobi. I didn't.
Why?
I think I just wanted to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to the portal to pick, I was picking everything that's not in Nairobi. Like you were given like 4 choices. So my first one was Maseno, my second one was Egerton, Moi University, and then my last one was Nairobi.
You guys were lucky because I remember mine was kind of blind. Like, yes, you can check, I can go to Nairobi and I can get here. And then you had to kind of gauge, like with your grade, you ask them what are you are physically asking, and can this one allow this? And then now you fill in your top. I can't remember if it was top 3 or your top 4 schools or something. Then they choose you based on now, let's say your first selection had everyone with A's, for example, and you are not part of A, they just remove you from that list. So they tell you put it in order of priority, and then they just call you from wherever they're going to call you. There was no let me choose from specifically at the coastal region, these are the schools, you're just picking your top whatevers.
It was different because by the time you're going to select Nairobi Uni, if I had a B with the lower grade, it wouldn't allow me to even pick it. It was
privileges.
It was just if you don't meet the minimum, you can't select that course in that uni.
So even people who hate on maybe our systems in Kenya, whatever, mnaona kuna improvement. There's some level of improvement in there.
Yeah, and this was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm quite sure things have changed
now.
Kabisa. Yeah.
Okay. So now you've selected, you wanted to go out of town.
Yes. So I went to Maseno, and I remember when I went there, because it was something new to my family, they felt like I'm just going to waste 4 years of my life.
Why? Because it's
like
far.
They've never heard about it. You see, now the course that's marketed is being an architect. So by that time, I'm telling you, everyone in my family took me, from my grandparents to my parents, to see actually if there's this course in Maseno, because they didn't believe it. They're like...
So let me roll you back a little. So you've selected based on location, whatever. So there's no option. So Maseno was your first selection, or?
Maseno was my first one.
Oh, so you've put... So how many options did you have to put?
I put 4.
Also, you put 4 options. You can pick from wherever.
Yeah, and then you check whether you get your offer letter. So when I got my offer letter in Maseno, because it was my first choice, I went with it. I didn't even hesitate. I didn't want to change it. I was okay. Yeah.
Oh, no. So mine was a bit different. Yes, I chose Maseno because my sister had kind of pushed me, like, you go to a uni that's far. So she was telling me, guaranteed, if you really want to do interior design, don't even waste time putting other things, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and waste time and slots. You remember there I'm saying they take based on slots. If this slot is filled, then they give you a number 2. This slot. So she told me, check. Do they tell you can get this course? I'm like, yes. They told me, yes, you're good to go. She was like, just put it as number 1. So I didn't even waste time on number 2, 3, and 4. So I just put it as my first option, and that's what I got.
Okay.
So now everyone has taken you to Maseno. Your grandparents, your parents.
To make sure that course was was a real course.
And then?
Because no one used, like, they felt like, we've never heard of such a profession in Nairobi.
No, but that's not in Nairobi.
No, I'm saying now for them, they were like, I've never had someone doing this.
Interior design.
Yeah, as a profession.
So now they're taking you to see it after you've gotten your offer letter?
Yes, because I had refused to change my course.
Oh.
I had refused completely. So we had an agreement. If we go to Maseno and there's no such course, I was supposed to come back to Nairobi and do nutrition.
Allah.
Yeah, it would have been like...
Hey, So now you've gone to Maseno.
We've gone to Maseno. We've seen. I wasn't so sure what I was getting myself into, because even for me, I was like, okay, because like when you check online the courses and everything, the course outline is different. So we go, check getting into administration. Yeah. So
now they believe it's happening. They're like, it's okay. You're good to go.
No, they actually, we had an agreement within the first semester. If I am not comfortable, or because, from high school, staying in Nairobi, now I'm full on, that time I'm not even 18. I'm in Kisumu by myself.
So they're asking you if you're not comfortable then?
I come back, transfer my credits, if need be, or just change my course completely. Because for them, they just felt like, for lack of a better word, struggling artist. Like, this course has no
future.
one. So they're like, you'll waste your 4 years. Just, but because I was quite insistent, I was like, no, I'm going to myself now. I'm doing this. So it was after the first semester, we come home and discuss how I'm going to move back to Nairobi and change my course.
So you've now come home, you've discussed
Yeah, so I
what's
didn't
the
even
discussion?
I didn't even give them the discussion. I told them I'm not changing. And I'm
Okay.
going back for the next semester.
So now you've done your 4 years in school and now we're looking for internship. How did you get your first internship?
So my first internship, it was quite hard, considering all the companies that I had reached out to. I was getting a lot of rejection.
Why?
See, in school, we were taught using ArchiCAD. And
ArchiCAD is a software.
yes,
For drawing.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were taught using ArchiCAD. However, the market standard at that particular moment was Revit. So because I wanted to do interior architecture, I wanted to be part of the building process, I targeted going for architectural firms or firms that do design and build, not necessarily just finishing. So I think it was like 3 companies that I got in touch with. It was just like a no. I was so depressed. I even had to call my lecturer in school and ask him, like, dude, why do we spend so much time learning something that if we want to get a job out here,
We can't
even get? And mind you, I'm applying for attachment. This is not even a job. So I was like, if I'm struggling like this as an attachee, if I had finished uni, where am I starting?
What was actually his feedback?
So like he felt bad and he was like, no, I'll help you look for places. So he was just trying, because even for him, he didn't really expect the rejection.
So what was he trying? You said he's trying. What was he trying to do?
So now he was trying to reach out to his old classmates, see people who have their own startups that need students and who can help. See, at that point, I think right now we have IDAC, but at that point, IDAC was not that big. So even when...
Was it even there? IDAC?
It was, because when I was in first year, we were told to join.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. So there weren't so many options or valleys for students to, engage with professionals and ask for internship. So who do you ask for, to help? You just go back to your lecturer and ask him, please assist us.
So did you actually get one through him?
Yes. However, I don't know. I think I'd want to call myself I'm a maskini jeuri kidogo, because the terms of what he got me didn't align to what I knew I wanted.
What were the terms?
So it was a startup, and I would essentially work from home and meet up when now my boss requires me to go there. So it stripped me away from having to getting the discipline about working, waking up early, reporting, working with a team. It didn't check those things for me. So I had to decline it.
So now you've declined it and you still don't have a job. Now, how many weeks in is this now? Because you've gotten rejections for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And
this is week 3.
Going strong with no internship.
With no internship. With nothing, and the offer that I've been given, I've gracefully said no to it. So after I said no to the offer, I went and I started checking online, and there was this firm in Lavington, and they had posted for actually a job. But I reached out to the business owner, and I was like, I'm looking for an internship, and I'd want to know. So I sent all my documents for school, whatever I'd prepared as my portfolio. So they reached out to me and they told me, yeah, do you use Revit? And I was like, no, I don't use it. However, I'm a fast learner. You know, I try to tell myself I'm a fast learner. I'll be dedicated. I'm enthusiastic. I just need the opportunity. And that time I actually told them I am actually like really desperate because this is for school.
Yeah.
So she tells me, fine, come in on Friday and come in for an interview. So that's when I went in for the interview. Everything went well. I didn't know Revit, so every single day my dad goes to work every day at 6 a.m. So I used to live with my dad at 6 a.m. every day with my laptop on the staircase. I used to download videos at night. I sit at the staircase, watch those videos, practice. By the time the office is being opened by 8 a.m., I've done like my 1.5 hours of practice of Revit.
Hey, dedications, my friend. If you want to learn anything, you will do it. How she was practicing at the staircase of the office, waiting for it to be opened.
Yeah.
Hiya. So now you come in, you're saying I'm enthusiastic, I will learn. Actually, you're taking the time to learn.
Yeah.
So what was this farm, what were the surprises that you encountered?
Okay, so
she looks like she's holding in a story, a juicy story.
So I think the work culture, because this was my first company, the work culture was a bit shocking for me.
What about it? First of all, what was the work culture?
A lot of micromanagement. So, you see, as I was quite dedicated, so for me it was a matter of tell me do A, I'll do A. Tell me do B, I'll do B. Tell me where A is wrong, B is wrong, and then I move forward. However, you couldn't even Google anything. Like, it was micromanagement to the point that she had an app to record our screens to see whether we are working.
So you're there working, kidogo, you've gone to Facebook.
And when you go to Facebook, a screenshot is sent on the WhatsApp group asking you,
what are you doing?
Yeah, this is not this is not personal time. I'm paying for this time.
Wow.
So first, no, that's not even out of it. I think we had talked about this with you. First was you never owned a desktop. The office was not your personal space. It was a hot desk. Let me now explain to you what a hot desk is. That means if an office has like 4 seats, seat 1 does not belong to Abby. Seat 1 belongs to anyone who arrives first. So there was no putting of personal passwords on your desktops, nothing. Don't personalize anything. Anything that you meet, you touch in that office, it's company property.
Don't come here with your mugs written, family of photo frames of your children.
Nothing. No personal items on the desks. Everyone had a locker. Come in, put your things in the locker, your jackets that you hang on your seats. No. Fold, put in your locker. If I wake up today and I'm like, I like where Abby sits. Let me sit there. I'll sit there. And when you get me there, you can't tell me to move.
So was this like communicated to you, or was it you just find like that's the way it is?
No, it was communicated to me when I went there for the first time. They were just like, anywhere, sit anywhere. And I'm like, no, but I'm sure there are people, she's like, anywhere you sit is your desk.
So how was this different? How was this a surprise because is it what you had been told internship would be, or what you had been told work would be? Or is it that at home you used to like your personal space, and then now here you're being told, my friend, do not. Why was it surprising?
It was surprising for me because I have an older sister, and when she did her pupillage, because she's a lawyer, whenever I used to go with her to the office, she used to go directly to her seat. Like, that was her seat. She used to leave her things, her pencils, her notebooks, everything there.
You can't leave a pencil.
You couldn't leave anything, because I can wake up and get late tomorrow and I find you liked my seat and you decide to sit there and I can't tell you. This is my seat.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you. So it was a bit of a shock for me because I've also not met my team members, and I'm being told sit wherever you want. Mind you, I'm the first one. I'm there
Because
at
you're always
6.
there at 6.
Yeah. So that means I'd always pick what I like.
So today, like, I'll sit here today. Tomorrow, I'll sit there. To the next day, this is my desk.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that is like just now the culture shock. Is there anything else on culture shock that was shocking
So
or surprising?
It was just the micromanagement of like, you know, you never knew. I still didn't even believe at that point that our screens were being recorded at a remote location.
Until you started seeing screenshots on the group. Wow.
And I was just like, okay.
So in terms of that micromanaging, what was your expectation? What were you expecting getting into it? Or before you got into it?
Okay, also because I've never worked before, it took me aback because I was like,
this is how it is. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, so it took me aback because I was like, okay.
Oh, so that's different, and it's important for everyone to kind of know, like, every workplace is very different. So you may come maybe from an internship and you go to your first job and it's you had an easy time on your internship, and then your first job you get now maybe someone who's micromanaging, and then you're like, what's going on? Or you going to an internship like this, and then your first job you get like freedom, they expect you to be responsible, and you're like, hala,
yes,
what's going on? Higher. Also, let me ask you, what do you think now in that scenario? What do you think your hidden did it like pull out a hidden talent that you found out? I'm good at this.
Yes, actually, it did.
What did you find out?
I found out about myself, like I can easily grasp things on CAD. I'm quite fast because within 1 month of being in that internship, by the time my supervisor was coming to meet me at my job and see how I was doing, I had surpassed half the team. So I realized I was quite fast because even at that particular moment, I got a job offer. By the time my supervisor was leaving for us to, like, after she signs my credit for attachment. So I came to realize I'm quite fast in CAD-related items. I really, if I focus on learning, it won't take me more than 3 weeks.
So this is on the Revit that you had just started learning?
Yes.
Was there any other software you're doing at this point?
That time I was doing Revit and AutoCAD.
Oh, so there it's both, or the AutoCAD was now because of personal learning?
No, AutoCAD was just because we're interacting with now architects,
engineers, and that's what they prefer.
And that's what they prefer. I needed to learn how to make changes without necessarily, because AutoCAD and Revit are in the same Autodesk family. You can easily swap between the two. However, sometimes some elements are lost between the two softwares. So I needed to make changes on the AutoCAD so that,
So now you've discovered that, I'm quite good at Revit, I'm quite fast, I'm learning softwares really quickly. So that's now on the technical aspect. Tell me about soft skills. What did you come to find out you needed to know at the workplace? You're like, hey, if I don't learn these soft skills, I'm going to die.
Now, at that particular moment, I'm a CAD tech.
No soft skills required.
No soft skills required. My job was a CAD technician. That means I wake up, do drawings, submit them, review, change them, go back.
No presenting to anybody.
No presenting
no
to
going
anyone,
to site.
Nothing.
No going to meetings. No sourcing for materials.
Nothing.
Just to sit on your desk. No wonder she was telling you just pick any desk. Like there's no emotions there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You only talk to the person sitting next to you and you're like, hi, how are you? That's it.
Okay. And then now, still on that, what challenges do you feel turned into like important learning experience still at this place?
I think it was like one challenge experience was like, when you're so fixated on being a CAD tech. I remember there's a time I was told to go to site.
This is after like how long now?
This is after like, now I'm on month 2.
month 2 of internship or month 2 of job? Because now they've offered you a job
Yeah.
after internship.
Yeah, so it was month 2 of like transition between internship and work. So I'm still an intern, but I'm being paid more than I did when I was being an intern. So it was transition of me like going into permanent work. So I was told to go to site. And I remember the site was in Karen, and I needed to go with one of my colleagues. So we went with her, and I was just like, I was perplexed.
Why?
I've never been to a site.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen what happens on site. All I do is I churn out drawings.
So wait, so at this moment, this site that you're going to, what kind of site is it? Is it a residential? Is it a commercial space?
It's a residential space.
And at what level of site work were they?
We had gone to take measurements to confirm the detailed drawings that we had prepared for preparation of shop drawings for shipment from China. So
now you're there and you're shocked.
Yeah. Because when you do line work, by that time Revit you are doing 3D as well. But when you're doing line work or 3D, you don't imagine whatever you're modeling for a space. You just, it looks like one straight line. You never get to see how it relates to the other spaces. Like, see, that time, when you look at a kitchen, you don't imagine your dining, you don't imagine your living room, you don't imagine all that. As a CAD tech, you're focusing on your kitchen. Yeah.
So it because they've given you portions, like just draw this, just draw this. You, other person, Abigail, you draw this.
Yes.
It's not now you're designing everything in totality.
No, because at that particular point, you were there to like churn out drawings. So Abigail, you're told to draw the media unit. I'm told to draw the kitchen. The other one is told to draw the wardrobes. The other one is told to draw this. So by the time all those drawings, you're going to site to look at how everything works together, that's when you come realize, oh, in my kitchen, there's a like a ductwork.
That's not on my drawing now.
That's not on my drawing. So now taking those small things that for me, I didn't, because I'm an intern as well, and this is my first time on site. So my colleague was nice enough, and she was like, you need to take note of this, because I didn't know. I was like, but when they do the cabinetry, they can just like walk around it.
They'll walk around.
Yeah.
From China. Hey, it must be nice.
But you see, now I was just
you don't know.
I didn't know.
Oh. Wow.
So I didn't know what like drawings and site work was.
So that's one thing also people need to understand. Like, aspiring interior designers, as you're going into the space, don't imagine you'll just be drawing things from your desk. You also need to relate with site. You need to be able to go to the site, see what's there. Is there now, like in her case, there's a beam. It was a beam, right? Or it was a column?
No, it was like the cladding that they do for the pipe. The masonry cladding for the pipe.
So there's something now protruding, let's say here, and you've drawn a cabinet that's going all through. You can't just imagine that the supplier in China is going to modify that for you. You have to give them specifics. So it means you need to go back to the office, redo that drawing in a way that when you send it to China, they'll bring it having made that amendment. Yeah? So it's really important for people to understand, yes, even if you're a CAD tech, one or two times, you may need to be able to go to site, verify what's there. Is it relevant? Is it going to work out? Not just drawing things because they look good or drawing things because you feel, I finished my drawing and it's okay, So now, so that was so you were speaking on challenges that turned into valuable learning experiences.
Yeah.
So what learning experience do you pick from that?
So at that point, I dissociated myself. I was a CAD tech. Monday to Friday, what was I doing? I was on a screen, churning out drawings. Once my drawings are approved, I move on. So having that, seeing it like, oh, this is what this meant. When, sometimes when you're given directions of like, this doesn't make sense, or someone sketches for you, like the drawing needs to be like this, you never really get to understand it till you go to site by yourself and you're like, oh, this is what they meant.
Oh.
Yeah, so with that, it's just now made it like the emphasis of being very, very particular with your details. Like, you need to be very, very clear, because whatever you draw The manufacturer really does not care. And they don't produce know what you have drawn. Yeah.
Then now you're here in Kenya trying to convince clients that apana, I'm going to cut it. They're looking like you're a joker, because it's going to cost them money. They spent on a lot more that they shouldn't have. Maybe this whole section should not have been bought anyway,
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Then how did you feel? So now you've gone to site, you've realized that site is important. You need to associate what you're drawing and what is actually on site, right?
Yeah.
What was your take on your learning experience in school versus reality? What did you feel was the difference? What were the differences according to you?
Honestly, at that point, it was like being on Mombasa and like North Kenya. Like, it just felt like miles apart.
What part exactly?
Even the experience, even everything that I was learning at work, it felt quite different from what we were being taught. Because I remember after that particular period, my employer at that particular point was like, you can just go for your exams, but the coursework, you need to be there physically to attend classes, to go for your cuts. And I remember sitting down with my classmates and I'm like, man, my internship was hectic. I used to do A, B, C, D. And my classmates were like, no, ours, it was quite different.
Oh, so then it's not an issue about school. It's really not an issue about, or how would you say it? It's not an issue about school. Maybe it's different places are different. Or what would you say in your opinion then?
I think for me, I'd say different companies. That's what I was saying. It now depends. You see, when you go to a company that now does a design and it's fully in the design execution, ensuring that the design execution is done as what was drawn and proposed in your concept, then it's a whole other thing. If you're there for just fit out or decoration, that's quite different. So, of course, your workload becomes
lighter.
Yeah, and quite different from one person to the next.
So, for them, they felt like the internship was easy, or what you would say that?
Yes, for some of them, you would converse and be like, what were you doing? So, and then I used to see my CAD skills had significantly changed from my classmates. Because now I needed to learn, even my ArchiCAD was quite different, because for like a project that we were given like a whole month and a half to do, I used to do it in like 2 weeks. I think I have my base drawings done. I'm working on my elevations.
So this is work that you've been given in school?
Yes. So I could see now that shift because of where I did my internship. You see, it made me need to know how to be fast with CAD.
Yeah, and it's something actually, I think in a previous episode we had spoken, one of the previous episodes, and I remember telling the guest that in my opinion and my experience, all the people who went to very easy internships or fast jobs, I feel took a longer time to kind of settle in the industry, than those who had a relatively fast-paced, fast-paced experience. And again, usually when I'm discussing with people during our Thursday lives on Instagram, we had a session discussing myths versus reality in interior design or coursework of interior design versus the reality. And I remember just telling people one of the most important things you need to do while selecting about internships or what to learn in internships, step 1 is select the right internship. Select the right place. Be very, very intentional on, this is where I want to go. And I'm going here because of A, B, C, D. These are my goals. I'm trying to achieve A or B or C. Something like what you've mentioned that, I need hands-on experience. I need to experience our culture. I need to mingle with the team and, see how teamwork works. And you realize maybe this particular firm, it's like, no, work from home and you're just by yourself, So you really need to be very intentional on, 1, where am I going to? Where am I going there? What do I expect to learn from there? You see, most people, I think, either when looking for internships or jobs in general, feel like they're being interviewed. It's them being interviewed. Yet an interview should be 2-way. you need to be interviewing that person or that company as much as they're interviewing you. Everyone needs to see like it's a good fit. It's not like you're at anyone's mercy. No, you also need to sit and be like, nah, fam. Studio-littleBold is not for me, thanks. But thank you for the opportunity. Maybe there's someone else who this would be a very good fit for, But you have to be very, very super intentional. You get?
Yeah, you have to be selfish, because the same way you're investing your time in the company is investing their time on you.
Yeah.
So if you go there and your goals do not align with that company, you're both wasting each other's time.
Yeah. And at the end of that period, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, whatever period, you need to come out of there with something. You need to have learned something.
Yeah.
So let me ask, now you've gotten surprises there. You've realized, you have some hidden talents. You're fast at CAD. And then you're seeing, the industry is quite different from work, but from your classmates' experience, then they had an easier time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say then? Now you've gone back to school and you're coming to you. So for you then, you went back to school and then you came back.
Yes, I still had my job.
But
I remember talking to my lecturer and I was like, okay, this is a good idea. Why don't I just work? And he was like, once you start receiving money, you'll never finish your coursework. So he was like, you need to come back to school.
Oh, so now you've gone back and you've dropped that job, or you're still working online?
No, now I needed to, we had a conversation with them and I was like, I need to take a step back. Like, it was, they felt like I was lying to them. I even had to give them my school curriculum, like on when I was finishing school. And the last day of my exam, they called me.
Oh, that's
like,
nice.
When
are you coming?
Yeah, when are you coming back?
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, give me a week, because I used to live here for 4 years. I need to pack up my things. I need to, I need to start moving back to Nairobi. So I was like, can you give me 2 weeks to just realign my... So when I got back to Nairobi, they were the first people to call me. They were like, are you back? And I was like, yes.
Hey, they know back at your exam date. When you come back...
I had to submit the paper from school.
Oh, wow.
Like,
that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, it was flattering, but...
Yeah. Okay. So now you've come back. You've taken your 2 weeks. You're back in Nairobi. Now you're at work. Tell me, how was it adjusting to now the real pace of real world? Because I'm imagining now you're not just doing CAD work. You're doing everything. Or how was it?
Now I had more responsibilities as an employee. There was no more hand-holding. I wasn't enjoying my colleagues assisting me. Now it's like we've been put on the same baseline of like our performance is key. And at that particular point, my job was performance-based. So that means I don't perform, I might not have a salary. Tell me about, I'm sorry, I need to laugh at you.
So tell me this structure. Now this is real world in this particular farm. So
yeah.
Ordinarily, like for example, different teams, there's people who are on contracts, meaning you're not a full employee. And then there are those who are employees. You're there every single day.
Yes.
Now, you're an employee, but you're saying you're not sure about your salary. Tell me about that. Tell me about that.
So a performance-based contract is if, for example, and I think mostly it's used for small businesses. If I acquire a job, I need to perform and prove to my clients or prove to the person who gave me the job that if I'm asking you for 100,000, I have done work worth 100,000.
Higher wait. So now put that in the context of this is your first job, where you've left school being told you leave and you'll get a salary,
Yes.
Ama, you had not been told that?
No, I'd even been given a salary.
So you've been given a salary and then it's performance based.
Now I didn't know, but I didn't know. So when I get to the job, now that's when I realized that this is a performance based contract.
Higher. So wait. So let's put a hypothetical. Your salary is 2 bob. Now let's discuss. No, let's use 10. 10 is easy to split up, right? So we say, Noel, come and work at Studio-littleBold. It's 10 shillings. Your contract is 10 shillings. But it is performance-based. Tell us, what's that?
So if I tell you, you tell me my salary is 10 shillings. You tell me for 10 shillings, you have 5 tasks to complete for you to receive the 10 shillings. If you do 2 tasks out of
10,
you will receive
22 shillings.
Yes.
Oh, 10 divided by?
Yeah. If you do 1 task,
out of
you're
the
going
10.
to be paid for that 1 task.
Oh, so if you do the 5, sorry, let's do in groups of 10. So your performance contract is 10 shillings and you have 10 tasks. You're supposed to complete the 10 tasks before the end of the month. If you do 2 tasks of the 10, you're going to get 2 shillings. If you do the 10, you get the 10 shillings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but there are some certain hidden things that people don't understand about a performance-based contract. Aside from the fact that you have to finish the tasks stipulated in that month, also there's a definition of complete work.
Tell me, what does it mean to complete?
So a complete work means, if Abby, you're my supervisor, I have done my CAD drawing, maybe I have designed the wall behind me.
That is task 1.
And no, maybe you say the whole task for the month is to do this. So what does a complete job mean? A complete job means, as a CAD tech, I have to do the drawings, hand them over to you as my supervisor.
I have taken them.
You review. You tell me, I don't like this,
check,
I don't like
check.
this, I don't like this, I don't like this color, specify this, specify that. This back and forth can go for
1 day, 2 days, 10 days, 30 days. See, this is work for 30 days, right?
Till the time that I get a go-ahead from you.
Saying, yes, it is done.
Now that is a complete job on my desk.
So the month can end and you've not completed that task.
And you don't get paid. It was just simple, cutthroat, no negotiations, nothing. I don't care whether you spent money on fare. You did not finish the task as said. And what's the definition of a complete work? A complete work means Abigail has to tell me it is complete. Without Abby's yes.
But this yes, let's say, is it predefined? Now, for example, Noel, design this vase for me. Oh, let's use the wall, right? I want, now before you start the task, was it clearly defined that I need it to have white and beige or white and grey? I need it to have a mesh in between. I need it to have curves. Was it defined like that? Or now if I decide to just disturb your head, we can just dance the whole month?
So it was defined, but as sometimes employers, there are some loopholes, but it was defined. Every single amendment that was shared needed to be shared on, we used to do OneDrive. So there was a folder of comments to be made. So for example, we used to work from 8 to 5. 5, you submit everything you've worked on the whole day. So when you submit everything, they would go make the reviews. So because we are all on OneDrive, when you turn on your computer, you get notification of like, this file has been changed. So that's how we knew the work has been reviewed. So all that, so like all the documentation, if they tell you, I don't want it to be beige, I want it to be white, it is written. So if the month has gone back and forth, or you're seeing like the week has passed and, you're working on the same thing, you can go and ask them, okay, I've changed this 5 times. What is the issue? Is the issue the materials? Is the issue the drawings? Is the issue what? So you'd be able to go sit down with them and tell them, there's an issue here. I'm changing these drawings 5 times. See, now that need us to be very cautious on how we spend our time and accountability. So we knew for sure we can be made to change the same thing 50 times and we will not be paid.
What?
So it was putting us on our toes and our supervisor on their toes, because if they don't give us,
go ahead,
how am I supposed to define it as a complete job?
Yeah. Wow, that one has good parts and bad parts, because it also, I think maybe that's what defined your growth as an interior designer, because from the onset, there's no kubembelezana in English. What is that? There's no pity party. Oh, I'm just learning. I'm just this, or this happened. There's no excuses. It's either you've done it or you're not. So it has both ends. Like, where it can be rough out here. What?
Yeah.
What?
Because even when I got my second job,
I
was like, wow.
Like, what's happening here? Oh my good gosh. So that was difficult to adjust to, for sure, because that's one of the challenges I wanted to discuss. Like, what were the challenges you faced during this transition, right?
Yeah.
And what was your expectations?
Yeah.
So now, there's a back and forth you have to complete so that it's counted as you've done it, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you feel? So you've mentioned a bit, it makes you hold also your employer or your supervisor accountable. But what else do you think in your experience taught you how to learn, how to communicate effectively?
Okay, I think for that, with the clear definitions, you see how I told you, we literally had to define a complete job. We literally had to define for a drawing to be complete, it needs to communicate what? That translated in the size of our measurements, how the measurements are arranged, how colors, font sizes. Now, because we never used to communicate with the contractors directly, that was our way as CAD techs to communicate to people on site. If I give you a drawing with 3 measurements, I'll give you a drawing with a pink measurement showing you that these are plumbing lines. I'll give you a drawing with a blue measurement showing you these are electrical measurements. And I'll give you a drawing with black lines, black color, that you can see this is directly for the general, measurements in the spacing.
Also, this is a different or interesting take on learning how to communicate effectively, because I think mostly we look at communication of, the way we are conversing, but I've never really thought about it like, okay, that's an interesting way of communicating as an interior designer, so that it's standardized. We all just know pink means this, black means this, blue means this. Yes, those standards are there, but in terms of context of thinking of communication, I'd never really looked at it, that really helps in communication, with different teams across board.
Yes.
What?
So now for us, we had to, because as I told you, not the whole team was going to site. So the team back in the office, we needed to make sure that our drawings, if my colleague can read it, the person on site can also read it.
If they cannot,
there's a problem there. Yeah.
What? Hey, so now you're drawing, you even know how to communicate in terms of interior design drawings, right? Or CAD work, right? Tell me now, how are you finding balancing between creativity and the technical aspects?
At that particular point.
At that point, yeah.
At that particular point, as blunt as it sounds, my job was not to be creative. my job was to mass produce drawings. That was my job. Yeah, creativity was for me at home.
Don't be creative here in our space. You just draw.
Actually, you receive the concept from the lead designer. You draw that. Don't question it. Figure out how to execute it.
Full stop. Moving on. We don't want your opinions.
No, we don't want you to be creative. We want you to draw.
Oh, wow. So that's so did you find that challenging, or me, I'm good, I'm easy. Let's go.
At that point, you do remember that I came into this job at a point of desperation. So
you're just grateful.
I was grateful. And then you remember, I'm just from uni, and out of all my classmates, I left uni with a job.
Oh, and the one who was struggling to even get an internship.
Exactly. So I remember I had a conversation with them, and I was like, I think I would like to explore different areas of design and And they were like, you know what, you're very dedicated.
A for effort.
So they used to train me on how to do concepts. Now, like
This is the team lead now or the business owner?
the business owner was also the team lead. So like we started doing these things slowly together. You know, at least hand-holding, because they realized that I had an interest in, you know, because I did believe that interior design is much more than me sitting in front of a desk. Yeah.
So at that time on the team, now you've mentioned that the business owner was also the team lead.
Yes.
How about the other employees? Were there hierarchies or different roles, or nyi wote, Catex, all of you, just draw?
Baseline.
Oh.
The only hierarchy was business owner, team lead, done. There was no like Abby is my supervisor.
Nothing
No.
like that.
You could see a hierarchy in terms of tasks delegated. The people who got more tasks, that's where you realize that a higher role.
Because they're getting more money.
Yeah, more money, and also they get more exposure, as bad as it sounds. You're the ones who'd go to site, you're the ones who'd do this, you're the ones who'll meet with suppliers.
So wait, are those ones task, what did you call it?
Task-based.
Like the, yeah.
It's
So
still
if-
the same.
Still the same for whoever it is.
For whoever it is. So the contract was level.
Yeah.
Now you could notice hierarchy in terms of now work. Because if I am new, supervisor/team lead will not allow me to go to site. They'd make me do the drawings, they go to site and check. And they sketch for me.
So remember, in this particular place, supervisor and team lead and business owner are the same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the person making the decision. You see, in other companies, you have the team lead that normally fine-tunes your drawings, that goes to the, like, your operations, who make sure that everything is up to the company standard before it's issued out to the client, so that the ops person can go and now follow up with clients and
On
make
money
sure
and stuff.
yeah.
And billings and stuff.
So this was just us and them. Yeah.
So hapa, no creativity. We don't want your creativity. Okay. So even I wanted to ask on client feedback, there's nothing like that. Who are you? Which feedback are you looking for? There's no presenting to clients.
There's nothing.
Where? Okay. So at this particular point, did you ever get to explore any of these things, or when you left is when now you started experiencing now the creativity, going to clients, presenting and things like that?
So after I left, that's when I started experiencing it.
Wow. Okay. So let me take you then to another direction, right?
Okay.
So before we move to the other place that you've gone to, what was the lesson you learned that really was a huge takeaway at this particular now firm where you were? You started as an intern, then you were employed. Key takeaway.
I think it was discipline. And me being very keen with details, because now that's where I came to learn that your drawings for you as a designer is what communicates more than anything. Any supplier, any fundi, any person will build what you draw. Because once you give out that drawing, they won't even talk to you themselves.
And I really like that for you, like discipline, because it made all the other jobs later on very easy for you, because this one was so hard.
Yes.
This was so difficult. It was you had to just be on your feet real quick.
Yeah.
You know, either you're keen, either you're doing the right thing, or you're not being paid.
Yes.
You know.
And
So
also now the thing of, I also needed to put a lot to prove myself. So it made me eager to learn. Like at this point, I am eager to learn new things. I'm eager to be disapproved, because I know, like, you know, I need to be flexible. So like now that discipline, the motivation to, you know, it might not work. It might work for me right now, but I feel like there's always better. And there's always more for you to learn, because it's like design is like fixing, how my dad would say it, fixing an engine. An engine in the late 90s, the models are way different from the engines right now. But just because he used to build the engines in the late 90s does not mean he won't take a book and read what different components are there in the engines in 2025. So it's something that keeps on changing. Like design is very, very fluid.
Yeah. And that's one thing I think is a great takeaway for this segment is continuous learning, regardless of how long you've been in the industry. Yani, there's always room to learn from books, to learn from other resources on the internet, to learn from podcasts like this, to learn from other people's experiences. So sometimes where you're complaining at your workplace, you sit and you're like, why I'm having an easy time. I'm good, I'm easy. Yeah. So tell me, so in this place now, I don't know whether to ask you this about teamwork and collaboration, because it seems like it was very, what are your lessons on teamwork? Because it seems like it was very isolated, like you need to learn how to work by yourself.
Yes, it was very isolated. I wouldn't even lie to you, because you'd come to realize over lunch break, no one wants to go with you for lunch.
Go where?
No one wants to hang out with you.
Why is that?
I think it's because it just felt like, how can I put it? It just felt like we don't have time to know each other. We're here to make money.
And move.
And
the faster we can do it well, the more I can make money.
Yeah. So you'd find that most of us who ended up having friendships, we had friendships past 5
working hours.
Yeah. So that's when maybe you're walking home, you're doing this, but in the office, it was...
Also now in this particular place, you're really not exploring or learning about teamwork. You're really not.
No. Because even at that particular point, I think I remember, I don't know what question I was asked about, like asking your team member for help. It was quite hard because, as in, we're working on paid time. As bad as it sounds, I won't take my 5 minutes to help you.
Oh, so who asked you that question now?
I don't know. It was a conversation we were having like after with one of, like, you see how you just get like design, like young design professionals who ask you like, how was it? But you see now I didn't have the luxury of like teamwork. As I said, we're working on paid time.
So even you're going to ask questions and they're like, you're wasting my time.
Yeah, so am I going to handhold you? So it was like handhold research past 5. So you'd find that maybe if you're friends with someone after 5 p.m., you might stay back in the office. They tell you, okay, you asked me this question during the day. This and this is what it meant. This and this, don't do this, do this. And you just agree between yourselves. But it was never a matter of, see how like you and I can be in the same team. I tell you, Abby, I've been doing these drawings. Can you do this for me? Can you check this work for me? And then I can check this work for you. It wasn't a matter of that. Because as we said, we are on a performance-based contract. So if I keep on reviewing and checking your work, my performance is going down, or I have to compensate my performance with my personal time.
Oh, that's quite different, because at my firm right now, how it is I remember encouraging my teammates, because my colleagues or team members, and I remember telling them, you know there's so many resources around you. Stop working you and you're doing mistakes yet. You can just ask Noel, nitupie macho. Just check for me quick. Wow. But now when I think about it, perhaps people also came from such environments where don't ask other people, Don't ask other people, you're wasting their time, and they come into maybe our farm and they're like, hey, me, I'm just working on my things. I'm dying on my cross alone. Wow.
But I wouldn't really encourage like how I got used to it, because you see also that meant every single time that I used to do my work, I had to do my first checking for myself, the second one, the third one. Before it has a good and bad part of it.
You overcheck drawings.
I used to overcheck because it was quite frightening for your supervisor to see the mistake. So like if I finish my drawings, today is Monday. If I finish my drawings on Monday, before I'll set a target to submit it on Wednesday. That means tomorrow morning, the first thing I'm going to do is check my drawing. Ensure that everything is okay. In the evening, before I leave, I'll check it again to ensure that
you're covered.
I've crossed my eyes.
My pink lines,
yes,
my blue ones, the grey ones, the labeling, the titles, the materials, you make sure you're good.
Yeah, so if everything is supposed to be on one line, everything is on one line. If there's any document needed to attach to that drawing, I make sure it's there. If there's like, by the time Wednesday, maybe I choose to submit it at 9 in the morning and I've gotten into the office like at 6. By the time Wednesday at 9, I'm pressing the send button. I've checked that document. I'm even dreaming about it.
So that's a good thing. Okay, it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing because you become thorough, attention to detail. So me, what I would take away from this experience, like on, your experience was it made you very keen on details. That's what I would say. Yeah. Because you're really just wondering, am I doing the right thing? Have I put this one? Have I crossed my T's? Have I dotted my I's? Wow. Okay. How about, what insights do you have, or would you tell our viewers on managing deadlines and resource constraints? Because now, as you're mentioning, you're not seeing clients, right? So let's talk about managing deadlines.
Okay, managing deadlines, in terms, if you're doing CAD work, normally if you have a submission for Friday, give it on Monday. Or for example, if your supervisor tells you, I need it by what is it called? Friday. That means you have to work back. By the time your supervisor gets it, that means you have Thursday to really sit down and go through everything by yourself. Make sure, is this done? Have your own definition of, for me to have said I've completed this job, what do I need to have given to my supervisor? And I think that's the emphasis on it. Your definition of a complete job.
Not just submitting because 5 o'clock has reached. Or, the deadline is today, I'm just finishing now and then I send.
Yes, you don't do that. You have to define what a complete job means for you and the firm that you work for. So if a complete job for you and your firm means that the drawings dimensioning has to be this size, this font, this word, colors are gray, monochromatic, this, ensure that by the time it's Friday, your supervisor has received your definition of complete. If they have changes, that means it gives you, because you have to give it for a review. So that means it gives them time and an ease of scrutinizing your work. Because neat work, properly defined, properly labeled, everything in a neat page, it's easy for your supervisor just to check and be like, okay, here's a mistake.
Yeah, because it's one thing, even we had a conversation with a few people, and I remember mentioning to them, stop looking at work as though, I'm supposed to do this, let's say for Abigail, and this is Abigail's problem, it's 5 o'clock, see, I've finished, I've sent. You really don't care the repercussions. You don't know if you've labeled the right thing. Let's say the material is called pencil, and then you've called penchol. You've written, it's not the same thing when you go to the industry to buy. Pencho and pencil are not the same thing, But you're like, mi bora nimechora, I've sent it for Abigail, me I've gone, not my problem. No, you have to actually sit and take a look. What was I supposed to do? Okay, these are the materials that were approved. Check. Have I put the materials that were approved? Okay. Are they in the color schemes? Okay. Are they in the correct font? Have I labeled properly? Have I put, dimension properly as per industry standards? For example, if you've bought a sink, will the sink fit here? What is the size of the sink? Okay, maybe the size is 500 by 500. Okay. Now, for 500 by 500, I can't have a cabinet that's 500 because the sink won't fit on top of that, So you're checking, the approved sink was this, This is the cabinet I've drawn. Will it make sense? By the time you're submitting your work, you also need to be very confident that I have done the right thing, not that I've just submitted work, not that I've just finished. Okay, you finished, then what? Because these things have repercussions, and mostly you feel the pinch when there's money involved, and it's really unfair for a client to redo. Yes, mistakes happen here and there, but at least if you've done to the best of your ability, then it's a bit easy even for the client to just be lenient with you, or your boss or whoever it is. So that checking and attention to detail and just ensuring I have given complete work. I am satisfied internally that I've done the right thing. Then you're safe to say, fine, Abigail, check my work. you know. So maybe I would like to then ask, because your internship experience is very different from other guests that I've had here, right? What would you say your advice to aspiring interior designers is?
I think
we are talking about aspiring interior designers who either are just leaving school and getting into internships at that level, not really too far off.
For the ones leaving school, you need to be very selfish with what you want and how you want to grow. Because design is, I can say there's so many different aspects, so many things that you can explore. You can be an interior architect. You can be an interior decorator. You can just do finishes. You need to be very, very selfish in what you want to gain. And in that selfishness, you have to also be ready to give. The same way you want to learn from a firm, you also need to give 100%. You know, it's a symbiotic relationship. The company will give you the resources, the projects, they'll give you everything on a platter. A company will allow you to, that leeway to make mistakes that you wouldn't have by yourself.
Yeah.
But you also need to give your dedication, your keenness, your time. And when it's time for you to part ways amicably, because you're not going to. So my advice to them would be, make sure you do everything with dedication. Be keen, be eager to learn, make mistakes, but don't make foolish mistakes. Make mistakes that you'll sit down and be like, by the way, you see, not make mistakes that in terms of costing money, you can do a design and be like, we should have improved this better.
Yeah.
So when you sit down, you're like, you did this, but it would have been better. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
So it's just that you need to understand that you also need to learn, and at this point where you're going into internship, you're at a period of you need to give more than you receive. As sad as it sounds.
Yeah.
If I look back at my internship experience, if I did not wake up every single day at 6 a.m., if I didn't
You're not
take
even waking
time
up at 6, you are at work at 6.
Yeah, and just like a fun side note about it was, if my dad leaves me and he's out of the gate, I used to run after the car.
Because figuring, oh my God, how am I going to get to work?
Yeah, because if I don't live with him, I'd be at work at 9 because of all the traffic.
Yeah.
So if I'm left, that's a whole other.
Then you're in problems again.
Yeah. So just that discipline. And you see, also there's this, something that I've noted with some young professionals is like, no, but I'm giving my time, but I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. But sometimes you have to give up the I and be like, okay, fine. The company is gaining, but you're also receiving from, you have to be very intentional in what you receive.
Yeah.
Also, don't just give and you're just there.
Yeah.
You're saying, you're staying up for late hours doing this. If you're staying up for late hours doing that drawing, ensure you push yourself to make that pitch to the client.
Yeah.
Open up the opportunities for yourself, because no one is going to open them up for you.
Would you like Noel?
No. So if you come and you tell me, I need these drawings, I hand them to you. You can decide, I can present it by myself. I've given you everything. But if I look at it and be like, you know what? Hi, Abby, I've submitted this, but can I be part of the client meeting? I'd like to just to know their feedback and how they appreciate the materials that we selected. You see, with that, I'm not taking away from you. However, I am putting myself on that table.
Yeah. You're not waiting for someone to hand it over to you.
Yeah, I'm putting myself on that table. The next time, what will you say? No, because you did the drawings and you understand the drawings better, do you mind presenting it to our clients? And then that gives me a new life skill.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing presentations. Now I'm talking to clients. Now I have to figure out how to talk, how to communicate verbally. Leave alone now that I know how to communicate on the drawing. Communicate verbally to my clients. This is what I meant. And encourage a conversation. So after that happens, what do you say? Okay, fine, the things have been approved. Can we go be checking the progress?
Can I accompany you to site?
Yes. So you'll notice something, you'll be like, okay, we did this. The termination with the ceiling was not looking good. I think we can do this. Or is it something that we can add? You see, things like those, it's not like you're going head on, but you're slowly putting yourself in the positions that you want. So if your goal is to grow into becoming a senior interior designer, you start with these steps. Get the drawings right. Start just saying, can I accompany you? Can I join you? Can I do this? And that's how you achieve the goals. Like, it just doesn't come like, boom, intern, boom,
Presenting.
junior designer, boom,
Yeah.
senior, boom. You know, these things are things that you grow. And I think in my second job, that's when I came to realize that. I came to realize that there's always room for you to grow. It's just how far you see that road.
Yeah.
And how far you see the light in the tunnel, because there are people who I've worked with where it reached a point that they don't even see the light.
Yeah.
They give up because they expect, I am
You
at
to
this point, I
pull
need
you.
to have this. Yeah.
Why aren't you giving me?
Why aren't you
you
giving
giving me?
Yeah. Instead of learning and being like, okay, I'm a junior, I want to be a senior. Me asking for the promotion is not working out for me. So what do I do next? You sit down and ask yourself, let me put myself in those rooms. You're like, okay, my job description ends here. You go to your supervisor, you're like, can I join you? They might be fussiness of like, no, but you have a lot of work. You'll be like, you know what, leave that to me. I'll make sure that I complete my tasks, but can I join you for this 1 hour? You see, with that, no one will tell you no directly.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, what's the
She's
harm?
just tagging along.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, last but not least, what would be your tip for making the most out of internships?
Making the most. Oh my gosh. The mine was so bad.
Yeah. You're saying yours was so bad.
Because mine was just like one end of the spectrum.
So how many internships have you done? Or did you used to do when you were in school?
I did 2.
Oh, you did 2.
Yeah. The first one was with an architectural firm. It wasn't so small. It wasn't so big. But it was a place where I just used to, that's where I got to know about CAD. And I used to go there because we're quite friendly. I used to go there once in a while.
It wasn't like a full-time
Yeah,
job.
it wasn't like, for example, if we've closed school for like 3 weeks. Instead of just staying home, I just used to go there. And it wasn't that serious. Because, if I wake up at 8 and I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm late.
Then
I go to work at 11. No one would really, or they text me and they're like, please, just instead of coming to site, come to Kiambu Road. Let's meet up here. And we go to site. So it wasn't...
Oh, that's why it was so shocking to move that kind of internship into this other one.
Yeah, because that's what I expected. Because I used to do that before my main internship. So I used to do that. So it wasn't really a thing of like... So when I came for this one, I'm like, now this is my official school internship. I'm like...
Where? What's going on?
Yeah. What did I just get myself into?
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to thank you for giving us such a unique look at it, for sharing your story, because what I usually want to tell people is what we are propagating in this podcast. We are not trying to say that all experiences are the same. We are not talking about Maseno University and saying it is bad or it is good, or Nairobi University is good or bad, or BIFA or whatever. It's just trying to learn from everyone's unique perspective. How did you? Because me and her went to the same university. Yes, not at the same time, but we went to the same university, And I can speak and say, oh, Maseno, maybe I learned this. And she's like, us guys didn't learn that, So this is a session or a podcast more or less to share people's experiences. Don't tag people and drag them down on the internet because of their experience. It's very unique to to each individual. But I'd really like to thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for contributing. I hope you had a good time.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really hope my experiences as an intern helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
I do know that mine was quite odd.
Yeah. Hey, yours was odd. Yours was a tough one.
Yeah, mine was quite odd, but I appreciate every part of it because I don't think I'd be where I am today if it wasn't for those strict,
the discipline.
lines.
So my
Yeah.
takeaway from your session is discipline. Yeah. So just to close off our session today, I'd like to make 2 announcements. One, our mentorship sessions are on. We have one-on-one mentorship sessions. We have a 6 weeks program that has kicked off today. And we have our 3-month mentorship session that works almost like an internship, but now with like some hands-on training where you really wouldn't get that in a real, internship. Sometimes you can get a hit or miss. Some places will make the time to really train you. Some places will not. So in our mentorship program, you're getting more or less a 3-month crash course plus internship plus practical experience. Yeah. So anyone who would like to join our programs, you can check our social media platform on Instagram. We have our forms and you can key it in. Yeah. And additionally, if you really love this conversation and all the other conversations we've had before and we continue to have on the podcast, feel free to support our cause of teaching other interior designers, teaching other aspiring interior designers, educating and sharing knowledge. Yeah, karibu nisheme. Sharing knowledge. And we are going to link our pay bill number for you to be able to support the cause. Any amount would take us a long way so that we have the resources to keep having these conversations. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining. We wish you a lovely week. See you next time.